and I have 4 years experience in system admin. I am working in Xilinx India Technologies. So I'm planning to do the SCM certifications. This is my next project. For next project, we are converting from Landesk to SCM.
Okay. Okay. So you are working as system administrator for the past 4 years, you said, and you already have experience on Landesk. Landesk is one of the tools like Sccm for the deployment purpose,
Yes.
right?
Yes, exactly.
Very good.
But we are doing only patches
Very good.
management. OS installation
Right.
we are doing through MDT.
MDT. Okay.
Yep.
Good. Understood. Welcome.
Hi, this is I'm actually working with one of the leading banks in the US, and I'm currently working in Active Directory team. We support AD, and the availability of the service. So currently the role is more of project management as well as production support. So that's what I'm doing, and my idea to join this course is actually to explore and to learn more about the product, because this is what we are actually going to deploy this year.
Okay, good. So you said you are working on Active Directory at the moment. So
right.
Wherein you need to support the infrastructure, or you are working as as and when a new user comes in, you create the user account, you create the service account, put the user to appropriate group, deploy group policy. So those are the roles.
Yeah, that is part of AD, but we don't handle all that. That is handled by the access management team. There is a separate team who does all that. We actually just manage the domain controllers and the service it runs on. So that's what we do, and we just have to make sure that there are no LDAP issues, and if any client is experiencing LDAP issues, then we have to troubleshoot, with that particular client and get on the call and make sure that the service is up and running and the Active Directory is green. So that's what we are doing. Because the reason we don't do lower level, like we don't do account management, because if we do that, then we don't have much time to work with the clients then.
Got it. Understood. And how many domains you are managing? You have like one forest, multiple domains, or one domain, one forest?
No, we have multiple forests because we have separate forest for DMZ as well. So there are at least 4 or 5 forests, and there are some child domains also that we are managing.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So right now we are actually this year we are actually planning to migrate to 2016 platform, Windows 2016, and which is why Secm is being deployed, and we are planning to have the service run on the VMs, and that's why we are deploying this product, which is why I'm joining the course.
Very good. Very good. Understand. Srinivas.
Yeah, hi Kashif and all. Okay, I'm myself Srinivas. I have 5 years experience in Windows and VMware, and as well as in Hyper-V. And in 5 years, I worked there in SCM as well as SCM and HPSA. But I'm little bit only for patching purpose I'm using with that. But I want to learn more about that, and also I need to improve, upgrade my skills.
Okay, great. So you already worked on SCCM, but you want to take the deep dive, understand all the components of SCCM, how SCCM works, right?
Yeah, and also I need to for end-to-end skill set for that, because of currently I'm supporting is a retail customer, but in future there is another one more retail customer, so it's merging with that current customer. So we need to go with that SCM for that. They are upgrading with that.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much for your introduction, guys. Okay, so let me introduce myself. My name is Kashif. I have around 10 years of experience working as system administrator. I started working as system administrator in one of the companies here in Mumbai, and I have worked almost on all the platforms of Sccm, starting from 2003 to the current branch of Sccm. I am an IT graduate. I have completed my graduation from Mumbai University, and then I started working as system admin, and then I am also doing this side by side freelance training, and I also have certification done for Sccm. I've taken the certification for Windows Server, VMware, application packaging, and I'm learning Azure now. So I actually enjoy this. This helps me a lot, and doing this, I keep myself up to date, and I learn a lot, by doing this training. So that was about me. I thank you guys for joining the session. So let me take you through the actual overview of Sccm. Okay, so today we are going to see what is Sccm, what are the components of Sccm, what is site roles, just an overview, and then we can go proceed further. Okay. Okay, so Microsoft System Center. You guys are able to see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Very good. Now, Microsoft System Center Configuration Manager. Microsoft released a product called System Management Server that was released in 1994, SMS. Microsoft released this product as SMS 1.0 because Microsoft knew that this is not going to last or sustain, so they started with the version. Okay, so SMS 1.0, then SMS 2.0, then SMS 3.0, then Microsoft released SMS 2003. This was released in the year 2003. This was working very well. People started using it. Multiple companies deployed this in their organization. But as you see, over a period of time, everything needs improvement. So Microsoft received suggestions and feedback from multiple companies, and then they developed a product and they named it as Sccm. Sccm is what? It's System Center Configuration Manager. So basically what is happening here is System Center is a family and Configuration Manager is one of the products in that family. So in System Center, you have another product as well, like System Center Operation Manager, SCOM, System Center SCVM is there. Multiple other products are available in System Center. So System Center, you can consider that as a group name, and Configuration Manager is one of the product inside it. Okay. Now, so Microsoft changed the naming convention from SMS, okay, to Sccm in the year 2007. Then they released Sccm 2007, SP1, SP2, SP3, until they released the newer version of Sccm, that was Sccm 2012. Sccm 2012, so it was completely changed. So the changing happened, it was released in 1994, and then it was completely changed in 2003, and then again completely changed in 2007, and again completely changed in 2012. Okay, so they released 2012, then SP1, SP2, R2. These were the versions released by Microsoft. Then Microsoft released 15.11. That was released in the year November 2015. Okay. So they changed the naming convention again. Okay. Here they changed the naming convention to System Center Configuration Manager, and they were going with SP1, SP2, R2, but they dropped this naming convention. They started using year and month. So year is 2015 and month is November. And they promised to release Sccm thrice a year. So Sccm 1602, that was released in Feb 2016. Okay, Sccm 1606, that was released in June 2016. Sccm 1610, October 2016. Sccm 1702, you can do like this. Here I can put 1702, 1706, and 1710. So similarly, in the year 2007, they released 3 more versions of Sccm. So 1702 Feb, 1706 June, 1710. And now the current branch of Sccm is Sccm 1802. That's the new one. You can say current branch of Sccm. Anyone has any questions so far in terms of historical background of Sccm? No one? Okay. So
Kashif,
this,
Kashif, yeah, these updates, okay, every 3 months or the 4 months it's upgraded, right? Okay, it's in applied by in organization level, or it will be done in once in a year.
no, these are the versions released by Microsoft. Now it is up to the organization or the people who are using Sccm product. They need to upgrade it if they want. Okay.
Yeah, okay, got it.
So currently, most of the people, mostly I would say like 95% of the people, they are using the product between 1606 or 16.2 or 16.10. There are few people who are on 17.10 or 17.10. I would say very hardly, but most of the people are doing this 16 and 17 and 16. Previously, most of the people were there here, Sccm 2012.
Okay.
Okay. So this was the historical background of Sccm. Now, training duration. So training duration is total like 30 hours. Every day we will be doing 1.5 hours daily. Okay, it's a daily session. Okay, not on weekdays. Sorry, not on weekend. And certification. (70-243) exam was there, but now it is retired. You can go for 70-269. These are the 2 papers for Sccm And after completing this paper, you get MCP, Microsoft Certified Professional. Okay, and you need to score at least 700 out of 1000 to pass the exam. Okay, the cost of fees for certification cost is around 4800 Indian rupees or $160 in US or other countries. Okay, any question, guys?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, the 7269 is administration or is it deployment install?
Administration. This one was a deployment plus administration, which is retired now. This one is administration plus Intune.
Okay, 269. I thought it was 690. No?
690.
96.
No, 696 is different.
Okay.
This was there for deployment and admin, but this is retired in most of the countries. Okay. So this was the historical background and the training details for SCM. Now let me take you to what is SCM sites and site roles. So what all components of SCM is available. So SCM is basically comprised of 3 sites, and the sites are central administration site, primary site, and secondary site. Okay, now I'll draw a diagram so that you can understand it properly. Now let's consider that you are running a company. Okay, not very big. The company name can be, let's say, Pepsi, right? You own this company, okay? Now in this is located in New York. This has around 50,000 employees. So 50,000 employees will have 50,000 devices as well, right? So all those 50,000 employees are sitting in one building, right? What you do, you install Sccm primary site server. Okay, so this becomes your Sccm primary site server, standalone. Okay, primary site server. Sccm primary site server, and this server is like Windows server, and on that you install Sccm component, and that will be managing all the devices in New York office. Now tomorrow you expand your business to couple of locations, right? Let's say you put your branch office in London and one branch office in Paris. London also have some devices like 2,000 devices are there to manage, and in Paris you have 3,000 devices to manage. Now primary site is located in New York, and over the WAN network it will have to manage these devices. So it will be difficult for primary site to manage the devices in these locations because they will have the data will have to travel over the WAN network on internet, and this might slow down the performance. So what primary site needs is it will put a secondary site here in these locations. So you can say secondary site 1 and secondary site 2. So secondary site is like a child site of primary site. Okay, it's a child site of primary which cannot exist without a without a primary site. So it is going to manage the devices in this location, secondary site 1, and secondary site 2 will be managing the devices in Paris location, and both will report to primary site. Both will be reporting to primary site. Okay, so now you have primary and secondary. Now let's say you have expanded your business even more, okay, and you have reached around more than 100,000 devices all over the globe. Okay, so what you basically do is you split the load into multiple region. Okay, so let's say one primary site is there. You can have one primary site here and one primary site here, and this primary site 1, no, primary site 2 actually, because primary site 1 is here, right? And this is primary site 3, EMEA. This one is APAC. It may have other secondary site. These are the branch offices in EMEA, for example. Okay. Similarly, these are the branch offices in APAC. So EMEA primary site will be managing the branch offices in EMEA location. Okay, and APAC primary site will be managing the devices in APAC location. And this one is your Americas. Right. Now the moment you add one, the moment you have more than one primary site, you need to have one central administration site. CAS, central administration site, is nothing but a primary site, but it is on a higher level which manages the sites, not the devices. So all the primary site will have to report to this central administration site, all the 3. Clear, guys? Confusion or clear?
No, I just want to ask, like, so the CAS need to be created first, right? Before the primary is created.
No, that is not required. It is not mandatory that you have to create CAS first. In case you have more than one primary site, then only you need a CAS.
Okay.
Okay. Or in case you have more than 1,000 devices to manage, then only you need a CAS. So the CAS is needed only when you have more than one primary site and when you have more than 100,000 devices to manage all over the globe.
Okay.
Okay. So central administration site can manage up to, the newer version of Scm can manage up to 700,000 devices all over the globe. And the maximum one primary site can manage up to 100,000 devices maximum, and it can have 250 secondary site. Okay, so let me take this. interruption. So 700,000 devices can be managed by one central administration site. One primary site can manage up to 100,000 devices, and one secondary site can manage up to 5,000 devices. Clear?
Okay.
Now, these are the sites. Okay, we discussed about sites. Now we'll discuss about the roles. Okay.
Kashif, I have one more doubt.
Yes.
Is there any chance to get converted into site, secondary site to primary site?
No.
No.
Secondary site cannot be converted into primary,
Okay, good.
and neither the primary cannot be converted into secondary, or primary cannot be converted into gas.
Oh, okay.
So what we discussed central administration site. Why we need it? Reason to have it: when you have over 100,000 devices to manage, plus if you have more than primary site. So the CAS is needed only if you have these two criteria. Or one more criteria for CAS: if you have more than one domain and you manage them separately. Okay, suppose you are running a company called Pepsi, and tomorrow you buy one more company called Coca-Cola. So Pepsi will have one primary site and Coca-Cola will have one primary site, and you want to manage them separately. So one primary site will be managing Pepsi and another will be managing Coca-Cola. So you need a central administration site to keep them separate for management purpose. Now, second point, primary site. This is the core of Sccm. Without primary, your Sccm will not function. Whether you may or may not have CAS, you may or may not have secondary, but primary has to be there. Okay. It is not possible to manage the devices without primary. Okay. So primary site is like core of Sccm. It can manage 100,000 devices. Okay. Point number 3, secondary site. It is needed for branch offices where you have low bandwidth network. It can manage up to 5,000 devices. Clear, guys?
Yeah.
So central is needed when you have more than 100,000 devices or more than one primary site, and it can manage up to 700,000 devices. Primary 100,000 devices, secondary secondary 5,000 devices. Now we discussed about sites. So these were the sites of Sccm, right? Now we will discuss about site roles. Okay, so let's discuss about site roles. Sccm site roles. There are multiple roles available in SCCM. So role number 1, management point. What is management point? Management point is basically your SCCM. Management point is basically the communication bridge between the devices and the server. So let's say these are the devices and they need to communicate to SCCM. So how they will communicate to SCCM? SCCM has management point which does the communication between the devices and the server. So these are the devices. So every device will have to come to management point to talk to the SCCM. Clear? That's the role of management point. So to do the communication between the server and the devices. Now we have distribution point. So distribution point, let's say you have multiple offices, right? One in New York, one in London, one in Paris. Okay. So this is New York, this is London, and this is Paris. What you do, you have devices in these locations. Let's say it has devices, 5,000 devices, 5,000 devices in New York. London also have 5,000. Paris also have 5,000. So these devices, if they need something, they will, for example, they need Google Chrome or Microsoft Office application or software patches files or operating system files. They do not need to go somewhere else, right? Or internet. They do not want to go to any other location. Rather, they can get it from New York itself. So to do that, what we do, we create one second distribution point here. Distribution point, so that the devices in this location will get the files from the distribution point itself. So they will not have to come to internet. They do not want to go to the internet or to a different location to get the files. So it is like a Walmart or DMart close to you, wherein you go there and get your stuff from there. It's like a go down. Okay. So we discussed about management point, distribution point. Role number 3, software update point, SUP. You guys can see my screen properly, right? Or do you want me to increase the font?
Oh, it's quite good.
We are fine.
Fine. Okay. Now, site roles. We are discussing site roles. We already discussed sites. Now we are discussing site roles. So management point, distribution point, we discussed software update point. What exactly software update point does is, you have your SCCM here, and you have your WSUS server. So people who worked on LANDesk probably know what is WSUS. And you have your Microsoft Internet, okay, Microsoft Update Server. So SCCM, and this is your WSUS server, and this is your MS Update, Microsoft Update Server. So this is on internet, okay. This is available for everyone, internet. Now what you do for patching to keep your computers up to date, you need a WSUS server. Without WSUS, you cannot patch your devices. Okay, so that's the backbone of SCCM, backbone of patching process. Okay, whether you have a Landesk or Scm or any other tool in the market, without WSOS you cannot proceed further. Now WSOS is the one which actually does the communication between the Microsoft Update Server and internal server. Okay, if you want to do the patching, you can do the patching from WSOS itself. You don't need any other tool. But in case you want to manage the WSOS, the patching from Sccm, you need to install one role here in Sccm, like a plugin, and that is called software update point. So software update point is nothing but to integrate WSOS in Sccm. So whatever the command you give in in software update point, basically the command is given to WSOS, and WSOS takes the command, okay, sets the configuration here, and same thing, it will get connected with Microsoft Update Server. Clear? So that's the WSOS role and software update point role. Point number 4. Endpoint protection point. Endpoint protection point. What is endpoint protection? This is basically nothing but a antivirus. Like I have AVG, you can use endpoint protection, that is Microsoft product, to deploy antivirus to all the computers so that your computers are safe and secure with the virus. Okay. Point number 5. Fallback status point. Fallback is nothing but alternate method of communication. Let's say you have London, you have Paris, you have Mumbai, and the devices in Mumbai are not able to, and the devices in Mumbai are not able to communicate with the management point here in Mumbai. Let's say the secondary site is down. Okay, it is not able to communicate to secondary site. What will happen? It will go to another site where the fallback status point is installed to get the communication, to get the files from there, to bring the policy. So suppose Mumbai does not have the files, Mumbai secondary site is down and the devices cannot get the files from here. It can communicate to London or it can communicate to New York to get the files from there. So that's called fallback status point. Point number 6. Reporting services point. So basically it needs to, reporting services point is, you have your Scm and you have your SQL database here. So you install reporting services point somewhere here in the database. Okay, SQL database server, and this is your Scm server. So install reporting services point here, RSP, and this reporting services point will fetch the, will do the, why it is happening like this? Okay, reporting services point, and basically it can communicate to RSP to get the reports from SQL database. Basically, as the name itself says, it is for getting the report from SQL database server, which you install it on SQL server. Point number 7, service connection point. Service connection point is for keep your SCCM up to date. So you have your SCCM and you have your internet Microsoft server, SCCM, and this is your Microsoft. So to keep your SCCM up to date, you need to install service connection point, which keep on giving you new updates as new update is available. Let's say as and when Microsoft releases updates, 17.10 or 18.02 or the newer version of SCCM which will be coming in the market. So you will be notified if you have this service connection point installed. Application catalog website point, and actually there are two roles, web service point. Application catalog website point and web service point, these are the two roles to create a internal app store. So basically what you can do, you can create a website, okay, and that website will be like something called http:// anything of your choice, internal appstore.com. So when user can go to this website and you can publish the software from SCCM on this website. The common applications like Google Chrome, Firefox, Putty or Mozilla. So user can go to this website on their computer and they can install the application if they need it. Let's say they need Office application, they click on that and the application will be installed in their computer. So basically this role is to create an internal website. So we are discussing about management point, distribution point, reporting service, endpoint production, service connection point. Okay, so we are. So what we discussed about sites so far, and we discussed about site roles. These are the site roles. Now we will discuss what SCCM can do. What is the benefit of SCCM? Why we need SCCM? Okay.
So all those plugins need to be installed.
Site roles. They are called site roles.
Okay.
Yes.
So we can choose and install them, right?
Yes. So some are optional, some are default. So when you install, some are the default ones, we have to go with that. Some are optional. If you need to do patching through SCCM, you need to install that software update point. Otherwise, you have LANDisk or WSUS, you can do the patching through that.
Okay.
Now, this is the graphical the diagram. So when you have only one office, no more branches, so one primary site server in Houston. When you have one head office and multiple branch offices, then you go with this kind of diagram, this kind of setup. So primary side with secondary side. Okay, when you have big organization, sorry, what happened? Yeah, when you have big organization, one um, central administration site on the top of the hierarchy, then you have one primary site, sorry, 3 primary sites, and then you have secondary sites. So central, and these 3 primary, and these secondary. One more picture for central, primary, and secondary. Now, what SCCM can do? SCCM can perform these basic tasks: asset management, deployment, compliance, security. So in asset management, so it can do hardware and uh, software inventory. So you don't need a pen and paper to write down the computer configuration in your company, or software configuration, whatever software is installed in your devices. In, let's say you have 50,000 devices, it will be impossible for you to write it down, the inventory, right? So rather SCCM can do those uh, inventory for you and keep it in the database. Asset intelligence, basically it can categorize the application into its category. So suppose there are applications called Firefox, uh, Google Chrome, UC browser, Internet Explorer, they will come under browser family. So SCCM will do the asset intelligence point, will do the categorization of those applications. Software metering is for usage of application, how many people are using a particular application. You can verify from SCCM. Suppose you have a licensed application called Adobe Acrobat, and you want to find out whether people are using it or not. So using SCCM, you can track the usage of Adobe Acrobat. Remote management, using SCCM, you can remote into any computer in your company. Deployment, this is the major functionality of SCCM. SCCM is basically a deployment tool. Okay, so it can deploy application, it can deploy software, it can deploy patches, operating system deployment, and it can do content management. So these are the basic functionalities of SCCM, and the core, you can say the core functionality of SCCM is this one. Then compliance management, you can, using SCCM, you can you can find out how many computers are compliant and how many computers are non-compliant. Okay. Power management, let's say after 7 o'clock in the evening, no one is available in the office, and you want to set some power policy for non-peak hours when people are not available, like turn off the monitor, or put the computer in sleep mode or hibernate mode. Using SCCM, you can perform those actions. Client health, SCCM is basically server and client facing application. So if a client is unhealthy, it is not reporting to SCCM properly, so the client will get repaired automatically. And it gives you a good overview of all the clients, how many clients are compliant, how many clients are non-compliant, how many clients are inactive or active. So it's like it is having a dashboard. Report, using SCCM, you can get the reports of all the hardware and software inventory of the categorized application, all the software metering thing, whatever the application you deploy, or whatever the patching you are doing, operating system deployment. So all those things you can get it in reports. Monitoring, you can use SCCM to monitor certain components of SCCM, whether the application is running fine or unhealthy or something like that. Security, it's a under security you have role-based administration, as in suppose you are good with patching, I'll give you patching role. You are good with application deployment, I'll give you application role only. I will not give you the whole SCCM access, because you might mess up other things which you don't have. which you don't have much knowledge on that. NAP, Network Access Protection. So basically NAP is to find out the non-compliant computers and remove the computer from the regular connected LAN network to a restricted one, so that if that computer is infected with the virus, the chances are very high that that computer will spread the virus over the network. So just we Sccm will identify that computer, the vulnerable one, and put it on a different VLAN, different network altogether, so that it cannot communicate with regular devices on the network. Endpoint protection. This is basically to deploy antivirus to all the computers and keep your computer safe and secure. So these are the basic functionalities of Sccm on a high level. Clear, guys? Anyone has any questions so far?
So all the session is recorded that we are going through?
Yes, the current one is also getting recorded.
Okay.
So these are the what we discussed. We discussed about sites, right? We discussed about site roles, and we discussed about Sccm capabilities, right? Now, what is the hardware and software requirement for Sccm? So hardware and software, yes. So basically we need this is for Sccm 2012 RSP2, but this is still applicable for the newer version of Sccm. So don't worry about it if you see 2012. So basically you need AMD processor or Intel processor, okay, and the minimum speed of Intel or AMD should be 1.4 gigahertz. Okay, RAM should be 2 gigabyte of RAM minimum. We are talking about minimum, okay, and minimum 50 GB of hard disk should be present on that server. The server should be either Windows Server 2008, Windows Server 2008 R2, Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2012 R2, and above, let's say Windows Server 16, anything which is above Windows Server 2008 can be used for Sccm primary site server. Okay, also it needs a SQL server. So what you need, hardware. Okay, so hardware configuration for, so we are talking about primary site server. Okay, primary site server. CPU, either you go with AMD or Intel. The speed should be 1.4 gigahertz at least. Okay, RAM at least 2 GB RAM. Okay, memory, I think, and hard disk at least 50 GB free space. Okay, OS, anything Windows Server 2008 and above. Okay, anything which is greater, which is equal to and greater Windows Server 2008. So you can take R2, you can take 12 R2 or a 16. That depends on you. SQL Server 2012 SP, no, 2012 and above. So SQL Server we need 2012 and above. Got it? Now the lab, okay, so let me, now the lab setup. There are two types of lab which we are doing. Lab setup. We will have one server that will be our domain controller, DC. Another server that will be our database. Another server that will be our, these are Windows server guys, okay, Sccm. All will be on the same LAN network. Connected to the same LAN network. And we will have one more device, Win 7 or 10. That's the client device, okay. This is also on the same LAN network. Now this lab, there are two types of lab. Either you can go local, local setup. Twelve GB RAM and quad core processor, or go cloud. So we can set up lab either locally or on Microsoft Azure Cloud. If you are going for local setup, you need to have at least 12 GB of RAM and quad core processor, high configuration basically to set up the lab. And if not, then we can go on cloud. Okay guys, so any questions so far?
Yeah, Kashif, I have a doubt. Okay, in my PC, I have that 16 GB RAM and also i3 processor. Okay, everything is fine. But during this session, I'm there in office. But how can I get that machine?
So I would suggest to go on cloud then, Microsoft.
Okay.
So you set up your whole server altogether, everything on cloud. So from anywhere, any place, even from mobile, you can access those servers.
Okay, fine. And is there any charges for that Azure while accessing the servers?
Any changes as in?
Means charges like it is
Charges?
a hourly basis.
Um, yes, but it gives you free for 30 days. You can set up for 30 days free.
Yeah, because okay, it's fine because anyway I have my own PC, right? Okay, I will go with the parallel setup in that my one PC as well.
Yeah, so that will be good. If you have, so if you are setting up on Azure and you are also practicing on your local setup, a local lab, I think nothing like it. It is
Yeah,
the best thing.
yeah, it's fine.
So guys, it's free for 30 days. You can use free in 30 days. So during the session, we'll be able to use that Azure for cloud setup. Anyone has any more question, guys?
And one more thing is this SCM is cover these sessions and all cover the real-time examples and also we need for that
Yes.
assistant from real-time as well.
Yes, yes. Everything is practical, guys.
Yeah,
And with a real-time example, real-time scenario, how the project comes, how you get the request, and how you perform, how you action on that task.
yeah,
And I will give you assignments. Almost in all session, I'll give you assignments to complete the assignment, and you
okay,
come back to me with the questions you have.
sure.
Anyone else?
Mm. And all we were installing with that all the site roles in that our mission test lab for
Yeah, almost all of them we will be installing.
okay.
Yeah, Raghavendra, Vikram, you guys are good? Or any question?
Oh, we are fine.
No, that's good.
So for this lab setup, we will give the steps how to do this and all, or we have to go through net or something.
No net, no nothing. I am here, so I'll
Oh,
guide you through every step.
oh.
I'll walk you through how to go about it, and you have to set up.
So
So
while
I'll be
lab
doing.
setup, we will be
Yeah,
doing. Okay, okay, sure.
yeah. So it's all in every session I'm available. It's not I will just play a recorded session or give you
No,
any document and that. No,
no, I thought we have to set up the lab at home or something. So after that, we have to attend the class or like that.
no. It's parallelly.
Okay, sure.
We'll be doing the theory and practical both. So we'll be setting up our domain controller, okay, database, Sccm, all practical. So if you guys don't have any further question, I think I'm done for this session. So tomorrow we can meet same time and we'll proceed further with the training session. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you for joining the session. I hope the session was informative. We'll meet again same time tomorrow. Bye bye.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.